Hello, welcome to Excavating Wisdom Weird Stories number one. We're going to call this one The Magic Wishing Rocks That Work. Also, possibly, How I Got a Cat. It's a weird one. Anyway, but it's a good story, so I'm going to tell it here. Truly, this is not about the Excavating Wisdom project. This is me just playing around with the cameras and video editing software and how YouTube does stuff. So if you're here for some deep, insightful, philosophical stuff, scoot. This is just a fun story. But if you like fun stories that just happen to be true, then yeah, stick around. We're going to have some fun with this one. It's going to be a good time. Okay, first, you need to know the characters of this story. There's three main characters. One, me, the excavated wisdom guy. Thanks. Two, there's the Golden Princess. And three, there's the Baptist Witch of Calgary. It's not an insult. It's just a lot of weird comes out of there sometimes, and that's okay because I'm weird in many similar ways. So I come by it honestly. But those are your three main characters. Unbeknownst to me, it's always fun to throw an unbeknownst into a casual story. But unbeknownst to me, my mother, the Baptist Witch of Calgary, gave the blonde princess three, not one, three magic wishing rocks, and I didn't know these were a thing, but apparently they are. And unfortunately, my daughter got at least one that works, and normally I would just laugh at that, but I can't argue with the results because, spoiler alert, I now have a cat. Still not used to that. All right, she might show up at some point. If she does, then I'll show you the cat. Now, so we're cleaning up my daughter's room, and I'm helping her dig out all the craft stuff and have some fun with it, and throw out some old stuff and donate some stuff to Goodwill and all that. And we get to the rocks, and I'm looking around, and she's got some Tupperware things, she's got some container things, but not nearly enough to organize a rock collection. So I'm already thinking in terms of, all right, we'll go to the dollar store, we'll grab just a bucket, a bucket load of different containers, and then she can have some fun with them, and she can organize all her stuff, and that's all fine. But as we're cleaning up her rock collection, she tells me about how Grandma gave her these magic wishing rocks, and I thought, that's cute, but I foresee some problems. So right away I go into problem solving mode, and what I came up with in the moment was, well, here there's some rules because magic can't just be chaotic; it's got to have some rules. Okay, so the three rules to make the magic wishing rocks work was one, you got to tell somebody that you love because love is what powers the magic. Two, it has to be possible. You can't just ask for things that make contradictions. You can't have money falling out of the sky. It has to be possible. And three, you have to be patient because the universe works by coincidence, right? So if you want some magical intervention, you got to give it some time to actually make some weird coincidences happen so that you get your thing in the end. It's the best I could come up with on the spot. But so she thought, okay, the Golden Princess took one of her magic wishing rocks, and I said, "You sure you want to use these right away?" And she said, "Yeah." And I was like, "All right." So she sits there, she holds onto the rock, she sits there and concentrates like I've never seen her concentrate before, and then she goes, "Okay." I said, "Well, Princess, what'd you wish for?" And she says, "A puppy that never gets old." I thought, well, that would be the wish that my daughter would go with. But I said, it can't be impossible, so it's going to have to get older. And she said, well, a puppy then. I said, okay, well, that's nice. But you seem to hesitate. So what did you really wish for? And she said, a kitten. And I thought, oh, well, that's possible. Yeah, it matches all the rules. And I said, well, why didn't you wish for that directly? Why didn't you just say, I wish for a kitten? And she said, well, we have two dogs. And I thought, oh, that's considerate of you. So she was actually being quite thoughtful about it. She wanted a kitten, but she was worried that the kitten and the dogs wouldn't get along. So she said, a puppy. And I thought, all right, that's cool. So then I said, okay, Princess, that's a good wish. Now you just got to wait. She gave me the rock, and I tucked it away so she couldn't use it again. And I thought, all right, how the hell am I going to pull this one off? And I'm thinking like pick her up a robot cat or something, or something, so it never gets old and satisfies all the criteria. But for the in the meantime, I was like, all right, well, let's go to the dollar store and we'll get some buckets for all the other rocks. And she said, okay, cool. We'll go off to the dollar store. Fast forward, because you don't need to hear what we bought at Dollarama other than some buckets. But as we're leaving Dollarama, she's got a big bucket empty because she's small, and I'm carrying a whole bunch of stuff. So we leave Dollarama, and out from under our minivan, no one around, a few cars in the parking lot, but out from under our minivan comes a kitten. Doesn't just come out from under our van, comes out from under our van and comes right up to us. Doesn't just come right up to us, hops in the empty basket my daughter's carrying. Yeah. Have you ever had one of those things or one of those moments where you're moving and then you realize that you're moving and doing something you never expected? This is one of those moments for me. I'm back in the dollar store, and I've got a litter box, litter, cat food, some toys, uh, whatever else ended up in the giant bucket of stuff. I don't even remember. I went to the cat section and filled it with stuff, and went back outside, and my daughter's still sitting there holding her basket, playing with her new kitten. I guess now I know what you got to be careful when you strays and diseases and whatnot. So you got to be careful about that sort of thing. But we looked around. There was nobody around. No one was going, oh, where's my cat? And we didn't want to leave the kitten just running around in a parking lot. That's a great way to get flat cats. But anyway, so again, without really analyzing the situation, we get in the van. We start to come home. I called my wife at this point because I figured she better have a heads up. I don't remember much of the conversation, but it had something to do with, hey, hun, you want a cat? And, well, I'll leave out some of the things she said. But bottom line, we gave her a heads up that we were bringing a cat home. And so we did. Once we get home, we introduce her to the dogs, mostly sat on my shoulders while she swatted at them. Within a couple hours, everybody had settled down. It was fine. It was like she'd been there the whole time. They actually get along quite nicely now. It's quite surprising. But anyway, so my wife started calling around, putting things up on Facebook, pictures, really looking for an owner. Called the SPCA, Lost and Founds for Pets. But anyway, so we did what we could. We looked around. We let people know. Here's a kitten. We found her here. This is what she looks like. Here's some pictures. Nothing. Days go by. Take her to the vet. Get everything cleaned out. Get her ears cleaned out because she had some mites. Probably lived on the streets for a while. There's no chip. There's no tag. There's no identification of any kind. And so we ended up fostering the cat. I didn't know you could foster cats, but apparently you can foster cats. So we have a cat now, and that's very strange. But we have a cat. All right, last part of the story. The next day after bringing the cat home, and we had decided on the name Kit. Obviously, the kitten thing, but also because we're reading through the Dragonlance stories named after the character of Kitiara, who's kind of an interesting bad guy girl character. But anyway, so we named her Kit because it opened up some options for nicknames down the road. But so I call the Baptist Witch of Calgary to give her heck for giving my daughter, probably an apprentice witch, the Golden Princess. She gave her functional wishing rocks. So I call and I give my mom a bit of heck about that. We have a good chuckle about it. It's a good time. And then just to add to the weird parts of the story, the Baptist Witch of Calgary jokingly says, "So did you call her Kit?" Now, of course, she meant short for kitten, and I could see that there's a chance that could happen. Come on. It's just weird. Again. Mom. Anyway. So anyway, so that's the crux of the story. My daughter wished upon a magic wishing rock that worked. She got it from the Baptist Witch of Calgary, my mother, and now I have a cat.